Ladies and gentlemen, do not let the score fool you. Do not look at Alexandra Eala beating Qinwen 4-6, 6-4, 6-1 at the City Open in Washington. I think this was just another comeback. This was not ordinary. This was a match where Alexandra Eala walked directly into the shadow of gold, took the first punch, and then turned the entire arena into a stage for a statement. On July 28, 2026, at the Mubadala TTDC Open, Alexandra Eala did not simply defeat Qinwen. Alexandra Eala changed the temperature around her name. She turned a draw into a declaration. She turned doubt into evidence, and by the time the third set ended 6-1, it no longer felt like Qinwen had lost control of the match. It felt like Alexandra Eala had taken it away from her piece by piece, point by point, breath by breath.
Win here in Washington. Curious minds want to know, what is it like to be this popular everywhere around the world, even here in Washington?
No, I think the question should be rephrased. It's what it's like to be Filipino. Salamat mga kababayan. No, but I think the community here in DC is amazing. I think there was a great atmosphere for both players, and I'm really happy with my win today.
This was the opening round of a WTA 500 event. It carried the weight of something bigger. Washington is not a stop on the calendar anymore. It is the doorway into the American hardcourt season, the place where form begins to matter, where ranking pressure starts to tighten, where the road toward the U.S. Open begins to take shape. Alexandra Eala came in as the world number 28. At a career-high ranking, already no longer just a promising name from the Philippines, but a real presence in the top tier of the tour. Across the net stood Qinwen, world number 123 now. Yes, that number does not tell the full story. Qinwen is a world no. For a five-time WTA singles champion, a 2024 Australian Open finalist, and most importantly, the woman who had Olympic gold placed around her neck in Paris. Rankings can fall, bodies can break down, momentum can disappear, pedigree does not vanish, power does not vanish. On this day, Alexandra Eala was not facing a ranking. Alexandra Eala was facing a resume. That is why this match mattered. Because Alexandra Eala was not playing a player without danger. Alexandra Eala was playing a champion trying to rebuild. Qinwen Zheng's 2025 had been affected by injury, including elbow surgery, and her 2026 record entering this week showed a player still searching for rhythm. Even in that kind of season, the weapons remained terrifying. The serve remained heavy. The forehand still had the sound of a shot that could break open a rally in one swing.
Set, down a break, things were not looking great there for a second. You walked over and had a conversation with your coach. I want to know what he said to you that turned things around in that second set.
He said that, I have to keep going, because if I'm there every ball, I'll have my chances. And I did. Like always, he's right.
For a set and a half, Qinwen reminded everyone exactly why she once lived near the summit of women's tennis. Qinwen served bombs. Qinwen struck first. Qinwen imposed pressure. Qinwen put Alexandra Eala in the position of having to prove that all the progress, all the hype, all the ranking movement, and all the belief from the Filipino crowd could survive when the match started slipping away. The first set was the warning. Alexandra Eala did not begin as the player who would later dominate the stretch. Alexandra Eala began as someone trying to find the shape of the match, while Qinwen was already throwing weight behind the ball. Qinwen took the opener 6-4. The numbers tell you how thin the margin really was. Alexandra Eala actually stayed close in points in that set, losing at 35 points to 34, but tennis does not reward closeness. Tennis rewards timing. Qinwen converted 2 of 4 break points in the opening set. That was the difference. Alexandra Eala had flashes. Alexandra Eala had 4 aces in the set. Alexandra Eala had moments where the lefty serve opened the court. Alexandra Eala also threw in 3 double faults, and against a player like Qinwen, loose service moments are not just mistakes.
Next up, you play the defending champion, Leylah Fernandez, also very similar player to you, lefty. You have played her this year. How are you going to turn things around, and what do you expect in that match?
I think it's going to be a very tough match for me. Leila's such an amazing player and an amazing person as well. So I think right now my first priority is to recover, take care of my body so that I can arrive in the best shape possible.
They are invitations. Qinwen Zheng accepted them. Then came second set. This is where the match began to reveal its real story. Alexandra Eala was not clean. Alexandra Eala was not perfect. Alexandra Eala was not cruising behind some serving day. The official numbers show Alexandra Eala full match first serve landed at 57.1%, far from the 85% figure that some viewers might have felt during her patches. But here's the key. Once the serve landed, it had meaning. Alexandra Eala won 66.7% of her first points across the match, and in the set, when the moment demanded conviction, that number rose to 75%. In words, this was not about volume. This was about value. It was not about serving every ball in. It was about making the ones that landed hurt. When the match turned, it turned because Alexandra Eala stopped letting Qinwen Zheng play from comfort. The return became the weapon. The pressure shifted from Alexandra Eala's service games to Qinwen Zheng's serve. That was the door in the match, and Alexandra Eala found it. Qinwen Zheng hit 14 aces, a number that usually tells you the server controlled the rhythm. Beneath those aces was the weakness Alexandra Eala exposed. Qinwen Zheng's second serve. Alexandra Eala won 31 of 48 points when returning Qinwen Zheng's serve, a staggering 64.6%. In the set that became a complete takeover, Alexandra Eala won 88.9% of Qinwen Zheng's second serve points in the decider. That is not just returning well. That is a player stepping inside the baseline and telling the opponent, if you miss your serve, the point belongs to me. The breakpoint numbers were the spine of the story. 6 out of 8. 75%. Alexandra Eala did not waste the door when it opened. Alexandra Eala did not blink at the scoreboard. Alexandra Eala did not play the points as if they were too big for her. Alexandra Eala converted 6 of 8 break chances, while Qinwen Zheng converted 4 of 11. That gap is not trivia. That is the difference between talent and match ownership. Qinwen Zheng had more chances to break than Alexandra Eala, but Alexandra Eala had the colder blood. Qinwen Zheng knocked on the door 11 times, got through 4. Alexandra Eala knocked 8 times, broke through 6. That is why the match changed. That is why the third set looked like a contest and more like a takeover. There is a simplicity to the way Alexandra Eala won this match. Alexandra Eala did not try to out-Jing Qinwen Zheng. Alexandra Eala did not try to hit just for the sake of proving she could match the Olympic champion's power. Alexandra Eala won with structure. Alexandra Eala served wide to open the court from the lefty pattern that drags a right-hander away from the center. Alexandra Eala followed that serve with the court forehand, a pattern that appeared even on the final match point sequence described by the tournament report. Wide serve, cross-court forehand forced error. That was the match in one image. Pull Qinwen Zheng outside the singles alley, make her defend while moving, make the next shot uncomfortable, make power hit from balance. Alexandra Eala's shot selection became sharper as the match went longer. Alexandra Eala still flirted with risk at the wrong moments. Alexandra Eala went close to the lines when a heavy ball through the middle would have been enough. Alexandra Eala gave Qinwen Zheng looks at serves. Alexandra Eala let the first set become a firefight. In the second and third sets, Alexandra Eala's tennis matured in real time. Alexandra Eala stopped giving Qinwen Zheng the ball twice. Alexandra Eala used height when she had to reset. Alexandra Eala used depth to pin Qinwen Zheng behind the baseline. Alexandra Eala took the forehand earlier when Qinwen Zheng's movement opened space. Most importantly, Alexandra Eala understood that against a player trying to rebuild confidence, every extra ball carries psychological weight. Every forced rally is a question. Every deep return asks, can you still hit through this? By the set, Qinwen Zheng's answers were arriving late, rushed, and increasingly uncertain. The movement was just as important as the hitting. Alexandra Eala did not defend like a player hoping for mercy. Alexandra Eala defended like a player setting traps. When Qinwen Zheng drove the ball hard into the corners, Alexandra Eala's first job was not to create a highlight. It was to survive the strike and neutralize the second. Alexandra Eala used her legs to turn defense into depth. Alexandra Eala made Qinwen Zheng hit one ball from awkward spacing. Then when the short ball came, Alexandra Eala stepped in. That is what separates a counterpuncher from a dangerous modern player. A counterpuncher survives. Alexandra Eala survived, attacked. Alexandra Eala did not just extend rallies. Alexandra Eala changed who controlled them. The biggest pressure moments came not when Alexandra Eala was ahead, when Alexandra Eala was behind. The official WTA and tournament coverage described the victory as a rally from a set down, and WTA's own player update framed it as Alexandra Eala overhauling Qinwen Zheng from a set and a breakdown on her Washington debut. That matters because this was not a match where Alexandra Eala built scoreboard comfort and rode it to the finish. Alexandra Eala had to wrestle control from a champion who had already taken the first set and had already made the match feel like it was moving in her direction. That is where mental strength stops being a slogan. People talk about grit as if it is an attitude, as if it is just fist pumps and eye contact and looking intense after a big point. Real grit is technical, under stress. Real grit is choosing the return position down break point. Real grit is trusting the forehand when the previous one missed. Real grit is serving with purpose after the first set has gone. Alexandra Eala saved 7 of 11 break points in the match. Alexandra Eala faced danger again and again. Alexandra Eala did not win those moments by hoping Qinwen would miss. Alexandra Eala won them by staying organized, by keeping her feet alive, by refusing to rush the point simply because the scoreboard was loud. The third set of the match was really something. It stopped being so dramatic. It became really interesting. Alexandra Eala started playing. She broke Zheng Qinwen's serve, then she broke it again. Before you knew it, the score was 4-0. The whole atmosphere around the court changed. Zheng Qinwen still had a serve. She still had a lot of experience. She still had that gold medal. Alexandra Eala was in control of the match. She won 28 out of 44 points in the set. That is 63.6% of all the points played. She converted every break point she had in the set. She won 66.7% of the points when Zheng Qinwen was serving. That is really impressive. On Zheng Qinwen's serve, Alexandra Eala was winning 2 out of every 3 points. That is not just hanging there. That is dominating. We have to talk about the things Alexandra Eala is not so good at. Her second serve is still a problem. She only won 47.2% of her second serve points. That is okay. It is not great. In the set, she only won 2 out of 7 points when she was serving with her second serve. That is the thing about this win. Alexandra Eala dominated the set even though she was not serving so well. She also made 5 faults in the match. She was able to survive because her return game was so strong. Having weaknesses does not mean you are not great. It just means you have things to work on. That is what makes Alexandra Eala so interesting. She is not a product yet. That should scare the rest of the players. She is already number 28 in the world. She is the player from the Philippines to make it to the semifinals of a WTA 1000 tournament. She has already won some matches. Now, she is winning matches like this, where she's not perfect, but she still finds a way to win. This win is not about the points she gets. It is about how it will affect her. Other players will see this result. Think about how they can beat her. Coaches will look at the numbers. Try to come up with a plan. Alexandra Eala is becoming a problem for other players. She is a left-handed player with a strong return game. She is good under pressure. She does not need to play to win. She can absorb mistakes. Still come out on top. That is what makes players. By the end of the match, the score was like a symbol. Losing the set was the test. Winning the set was the answer. Winning the set 6-1 was the announcement. Alexandra Eala was not just coming back. She was taking over. She was not just winning points. She was learning the match faster than Zheng Qinwen. She was adjusting faster. She was trusting herself more. She was hitting the ball harder when it mattered. So we should remember this match. We should remember that Zheng Qinwen is a champion. We should remember that she served 14 aces. It was not enough. We should remember that Alexandra Eala broke her serve 6 times. We should remember that she won 95 points. We should remember that she converted 6 out of 8 break points. We should remember the set where Alexandra Eala just took over. She did not ask for permission. She just did it. This was the moment when Alexandra Eala stopped being a star and became a present one. The other players have been warned. The draw has been put on notice. Alexandra Eala is turning people's beliefs into proof.